Hello, good morning. Welcome to OG's Wealth of Math. In this video, we want to see how we can solve quadratic using all the various methods by factoring, by quadratic method, and by completing the square. All right? All right, let's get started. Now, a quadratic equation has, a general form, which could be written as ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are constant value. All right? And now we want to see how we can solve quadratic by factoring. We'll be starting with the method of factorization. Now, how do you identify a quadratic function? Any expression or any equation whose highest power is a 2 is quadratic. So for a quadratic, you are going to have two solutions for that particular function. Those solutions are called the roots of the quadratic function. All right? Now, let's assume we have x squared plus 5x, let's say minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Now you can have it like this, or you can have it like this, minus 5x plus 6. Now, if you're asked to solve this is equals to 0. So that shows that when it is like this, they want you to find the solution for this function. But when it is like this, they just want you to, solve it without equating it to 0. All right? Now, there is a rule. Do you understand that? When you want to factorize a quadratic function, just multiply. Now, you need to identify that a quadratic function, oftentimes, if you want to factorize, you see this is a trinomial. Trinomial means it has 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. It is a trinomial. Now, this is the leading term, and so you multiply the first term by the last term, or the leading term by the last term. If you do that, you're going to get a plus 6x squared. Now, the second thing you need to do, open up two brackets and equate it to 0. Then this x squared, you're going to split it as x and x here. Now, you have a plus 6 and a minus 5. The rule is that you look for two factors such that when you multiply those factors, you're going to get a plus 6. If you add those same factors, you're going to get a minus 5. All right? So it's pretty simple. Now, if I want to look at the factors are minus 2 and minus 3. Because minus 2 times minus 3 will give me a plus 6, and minus 2 minus 3 will give me negative 5. So my factors are minus 2 and minus 3. So I'm going to put my factors here, minus 2 and minus 3. Then the next step is that I need to identify what my leading term is. My leading term is x to the power of 2. So my leading coefficient is 1 here. The leading coefficient is 1. Is equals to 1. Now, what you do is that you divide those factors by the leading coefficient. But in this case, because 1 has no effect on division, even if I say 2 divided by 1, minus 2 divided by 1, minus 3 divided by 1, I'll still get x minus 2, x minus 3 equals 0. So finally, my x minus 2 will be equals to 0, or x minus 3 is equals to 0. So x is 2 or x is 3. So these are the roots of my equation. I hope that is clear. So for this, if you have it like this, you just stop at this point. X minus 2, x minus 3. So you are not equating it to 0. I hope that is clear. All right, let's take more examples. Let's take more examples. Okay, let's say we have 2x to the 2 minus 7x plus 5 equals 0. Now if you have this, we want to factorize this. We want to find the roots of the equation by factoring. So we are doing a method of factorization. All right? So you multiply the first term by the last term, you're going to get a plus 10x squared. You open up to parentheses and equate it to 0. This x squared, you're going to split it, and then you have a plus 10. You look for two factors such that when you multiply them, you're going to get a plus 10. If you add them, you're going to get a minus 7. So 10, that's 2 times 5 will give you 10. So I can say minus 2 and minus 5. Minus 2 minus 5 will give me, minus 2 times minus 5 will give me plus 10. Minus 2 minus 5 will give me minus 7. So always remember, you look for two factors such that when multiplied, it gives a positive 10. If you add or subtract those same factors, you're going to get a negative 7. So my factors are minus 2 and minus 5. So I'm going to put in minus 2 and minus 5. Now my leading coefficient, remember, my leading coefficient, the leading coefficient is the one that has the highest power of x. So look at x is higher in this, x raised to the power 2 is the higher order in this expression. So the coefficient of x squared is 2. So I have a positive 2. So I will divide the factors by the leading coefficient. So I have x minus 2 half, x minus 5 half equals 0. Now if I do 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I have x minus 1. Now in this case, we can see that if you divide this, you're going to get like a fraction, 2.5. But you won't do that. Whenever you have this, because you can't put 2.5 there, just multiply what you have at the denominator by x. So you get 2x, then what will be left will be minus 5. You can equate this to 0. So this is the expression. So to get the root, I'm going to say x minus 1 equals 0. 2x minus 5 equals 0. So x will be 1, or 2x equals 5. So x is 5 half, which is 2 1 half. All right? So that's how to solve by factoring. Now, we want to look at the formula or the quadratic method, the formula method. Now, the formula is given by, you are going to have two solutions. So let me say x1, comma 2. So you have minus b plus or minus, that's the formula, b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. All right? So let me clean this and let's solve by the method of the quadratic method. Let's assume we have 5x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Now, I will tell you why we are using formula method. Because it is not all quadratic functions that can be solved, that you can solve by factorization. Not all quadratic function. So when a quadratic function cannot be solved by factoring, then you deploy a method of you deploy the quadratic method, which is also called the formula method. So how do you know that? If we look at this, if we multiply this by this, we're going to get 20 minus 20. If we look for two numbers from here, 20 will have a factor of 2 to 5. So if we look for two things that, even if we do a combination of 5 times 4, 20, 5 plus 4 will give us 9. 5 minus 4, we won't just get two factors, it won't work. All right? So when you see that the quadratic function is not factorizable, that is when you deploy the method called the quadratic method. So the quadratic method, let's go back to the general form, which looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now, if you compare this with this, you can see that this is equivalent to this. So that shows that a represents 5. Look at the position. B represents -3, and C represents -4. All right? Now, if you want to factor, we are going to plug in all the values, x1, 2, x1, 2, because I'm going to get two values for that functions, which represent the root of the quadratic function. So I'm going to plug in minus b is what? -3 plus or minus the square root of b is -3 all squared minus 4 times a is 5 times c is -4 all over 2 times a is 5. So my x1, 2 will be, so minus is plus, so I have a +3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared is 9, minus will be plus. So 4 times 5 is 20, 20 times 4 is 80. 20 times 4 is 80, okay? All over 10. So here I have x1, 2, which is +3 plus or minus the square root of 89 divided by 10. So you can use you can punch these on your calculator, and then finally I can say my x1 will be, now you can see this means 3 plus root 81 over this, or 3 minus root 89 over 10, over 10. So I can say for my x1, I'll say +3 plus root 89 divided by 10, and x2 will be +3 minus root 89 over 10. So that's the answer. So you can just punch this on your calculator, add it to 3, and then you divide by 10 and do that. So that's how to solve by a method of quadratic method. All right. Okay, so let's look at that. So without wasting time, let's take one other example again. 3x squared plus minus 6x minus 8 equals 0. Okay. Now, if you look at this, we have minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2. So can you try to see if you can do this? All right. So here, my a is 3, my b is 6, and my c is -8. So basically, I'm plugging in the values of a, b, c into this expression. So I can say x1, 2 will be minus bracket 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times a is 3 times -8 all over 2 times 3. So x1, 2 will be minus 6 plus or minus the square root of, this is 36, then minus is plus. This time this is 32 times 3, 6, 96. Alright, so this is 96. So 96 plus 36 to 132 over 6. So x of 1 comma 2 will be minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 132. Alright, divided by 6. I hope you can see that. Then I will have my x of 1, which will be, okay, let me write it here. Then my x of 1 will be minus 6 plus root 136, minus 6 plus root 132 divided by 6. Then my x of 2 will be minus 6 minus, because this plus or minus belongs to this. So is either you say minus 6 plus this over this, or minus 6 minus root 132. Let me write this beneath. X of 2 will be minus 6 plus, minus root 132 divided by 6. So that's the answer, all right? Now we want to solve, so that is all about quadratic method, all right? So we want to solve by completing the square. Now it all depends, completing the square. All right, let's presume we have 2x2 minus 8x minus equals 0. Okay, let's go by that. Now, if we want to solve by completing the square, now we want to complete the square. Now, completing the square, the first thing you need to do is that you need to divide the equation through by the leading coefficient. All right, the leading coefficient is 2, so dividing the equation through by the leading coefficient, that's the first step. So let's do that. We divide it by 2. Divided by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2. So we'll divide the equation through by the leading coefficient, all right? So we have, 2 will cancel out 2. We have x squared minus 4x minus 5 half equals 0. That's the first step. The second step is that we will take the constants to the other side of the equation. So we can just add or we can add, just add plus 5 half to both sides of the equation. So this will become 0. So x squared minus 4x equals 5 half. Or you take this to the other side. So you have this expression. Now the third step is you look at the middle coefficient. The middle coefficient is minus 4. So you bring out minus 4. So what you do is that you either divide the middle coefficient by 2, or you multiply it by 1/2, you get the same thing. If you divide minus 4 by 2, you get minus 2. If you say minus 4 times 1/2, you also get minus 2. So either of it. So if you divide the middle coefficient by minus 2, you square it, and then you add it to both sides of the equation. So this will result to minus 2 all squared. So we are adding this to both sides of the equation, all right? So I have x squared minus 4x plus minus 2 all squared equals 5 half plus minus 2 all squared. Minus 2 all squared, all right? Now the next thing is that we are going to neglect this because we actually got this from this. So we are going to tie up this because this r squared, this r squared. So we'll bring x minus 2 all squared and then equal to 5/2 plus 2 squared is minus 2 squared is 4. All right, so this is 4. So I want to add this, so I can say this is over 2. I want to make the denominator the same, so I will say 2 times, I'll just say 1 times 2, 4 times 2. So x minus 2 all squared. This is 5/2 plus 8/2. So this will give me, x minus 2 all squared equal, this is, so I can add this plus this, I'll get 13/2. All right. So now I want to get this, so to get x, I'm going to find the square root of, I can find the square root of both sides. All right. So if you take the square root of both sides, this is like this, so this will cancel this. So x minus 2 will be 13/2. So plus or minus. When you want to find the square root of anything, it's going to be plus or minus. All right. So we'll do x equal. So if I take this to the other side, I have 2 plus or minus the square root of 13 now. All right. So you can go about that to find, to look for the solution of that function. All right. So that will give you. So my x1 will be 2 plus root 13/√2, and x2 will be 2 minus root 13/√2. All right, so you can go about and plug that in your calculator to find the solution. All right, so that's how to solve by completing the square. Now we want to see how we can change when you're given the roots and you want to generate a quadratic function from the root. Now let's presume the root of a quadratic equation. We're given that the root of a quadratic equation are, let's say, 1/2 and minus 3/2. The question says find the quadratic equation. So we already know the root. So the root simply means x is equals to 1/2 and x is equals to minus 3/2. So there are two approaches there are two ways you can look at it. It's either you do this, it's either you bring this in by saying x, this is plus minus 1/2, put it in the bracket. Then this is x, you take this there, becomes plus 3/2, put it in the bracket, equals 0. Now you can do what I said. You can multiply this by this, you get 2x minus 1. You can multiply this by this, you get 2x plus 3 equals 0. If you don't want to do this, x equals 1/2 and x equals minus 3/2. You can cross multiply. This is like saying over 1. So you can cross multiply. If you cross multiply, you're going to get 2x equals 1. So if you take this to this side, it will be 2x minus 1. So that has given me the same thing as this. If you do the same thing here, if you cross multiply, you have 2x equals minus 3. If you take minus 3 to this side of the equation, it becomes 2x plus 3 equals 0. So this has given me 2x minus 1, 2x plus 3 equals 0. So whichever way you want to do it is okay. So now the next thing, we want to open up the bracket. So I'm going to say 2x multiplied by everything in the other bracket minus 1 multiplied by everything in the other bracket. So I can do 2x bracket 2x plus 3, then minus 1 bracket 2x plus 3 equals 0. All right? And then 2x multiplied by 2x will give me 4x to the 2. 2x multiplied by plus 3 will give me plus 6x. Then minus 1 multiplied by plus 2x will give me minus 2x. Minus 1 multiplied by plus 3 will give me a minus 3 equals a 0. All right? Now, we want to simplify this. You can see that these and these are like them because they are, they just contain x variable. This has x squared, this is a constant. So finally, I can say x squared, then 6x minus 2x will give me plus 4x minus 3. So this is what we got for the solution of that function. All right, so you can copy that very quickly and then let's solve another problem. Let's presume we have minus 2 and minus 5 half. So, or let's say plus 5 half. I can say minus 5 half plus 2. All right. So it means that x is equals to plus 2 and x is equals to minus 5 half. So these are the solutions. So we're giving the solutions. Like I said, the solutions are called the roots of the quadratic function. So we already know the solutions, but we want to construct a quadratic equation for this solution. All right, so let's just presume that the question says that find the quadratic function in the form ax squared plus bx minus c equals 0, where equals 0. What are the... No, now I want to find, we want to express this in this form, all right? I want to express it in this form. So we want to find the integers values of a, b, and c, all right? So we just go x is plus 2 and x is minus 5 half. So this, I'll take this to the other side. So I have x minus 2. I'll take this to the other side. I'll have x plus 5 half equals 0. So I'll multiply this by this. I have x minus 2. So this time this is 2x plus 5 equals 0. All right? Now, if you open up the bracket, x multiplied by everything minus 2 multiplied by everything in the bracket. So we have x into bracket 2x plus 5 minus 2 into bracket 2x plus 5 equals 0. All right? So x times 2x will give me 2x squared. X times plus 5 will give me plus 5x. Minus 2 times 2x will give me minus 4x. Minus 2 times plus 5 will give me a minus 10 equals 0. All right, so you open up the bracket and then the next thing we'll do is to tidy up the equation. We can see that these and these are like terms. So finally, we have 2x to the power of 2. 5x minus 4x will give me plus x. Then I have a minus 10 equals 0. Now if you look at this, you can see that here my a represents a 2, my b represents a 1, and then my c represents a negative 10. So this is how to solve quadratic, this is how to construct a quadratic function when you're given the roots of the equation. So thanks for watching my video. You can subscribe on my channel if you've not done that. Share my link and leave your comment on the comment section. Thank you for watching my video and do have a great day. Yeah, bye.
Will you be going out today? What will you be?
I'm coming, I'm in a session.